Imagine a world where an army appears out of nowhere. Fast, relentless, and merciless. One man led this unstoppable force, and his name still sends shivers down the spine of historians today: Genghis Khan. He wasn't just a conqueror. He was a master of psychological warfare and terror. But his cruelty towards his enemies was beyond anything the world had ever seen. Stick around as we uncover the terrifying methods Genghis Khan used to crush his enemies, and why his name is synonymous with destruction even after 800 years. One of Genghis Khan's most notorious tactics was mass slaughter. After a city surrendered, or worse, resisted, he often ordered the execution of every single inhabitant. In the case of Nishapur, a city in Persia, it is said that Genghis Khan's forces killed over 1.7 million people in revenge for the death of his son-in-law. The Mongols didn't just kill soldiers. They killed men, women, children, and even animals. In other cities, Genghis Khan's army went door to door, executing entire populations, sparing no one. This wasn't just about revenge. It was about sending a message. Genghis Khan wanted to make it clear: resist him, and your city would be wiped off the face of the earth. Genghis Khan didn't rely solely on brute force. He understood that fear could be his greatest weapon. Before attacking a city, he would sometimes send emissaries to offer a chance to surrender. If the city refused, his vengeance would be swift and terrible. He would allow survivors from previous conquests to flee and spread stories of the horrific massacres they had witnessed. Word traveled fast across the medieval world, and entire cities would surrender without a fight just to avoid the bloodshed they'd heard about. Imagine the dread, knowing that you faced the full wrath of Genghis Khan's army, that there was no escape, and that you had to make a choice: submit or face total annihilation. One lesser-known but equally horrifying story took place in the city of Termez, located in present-day southern Uzbekistan. In the autumn of 1220, Genghis Khan moved south toward the city after resting his army. As usual, he gave the people of Termez the option to surrender, but they refused, confident in their city's strong fortifications. For 2 days, the defenders of Termez managed to hold off the Mongols. But once the city fell, Genghis Khan ordered a massacre. His soldiers gathered every man, woman, and child, counting them and sending them into an open field. Then, each Mongol soldier was given a number of people to slaughter. Even though Termez was smaller compared to other cities, the slaughter was complete and merciless. But the horde didn't end there. As the cries of the dying faded, a woman was seen running away from the field. She was captured, and in a desperate attempt to save her life, she told her captors that she had swallowed a large pearl. If they spared her, she promised to give it to them. Instead of sparing her, the Mongols disemboweled her on the spot, and to their shock, they found that she hadn't lied. She had swallowed not just one, but several pearls. This gruesome discovery gave Genghis Khan an idea. If one person had done this, there could be more who had hidden jewels in the same way. He immediately ordered his soldiers to disembowel every single person in the field to search for hidden pearls or other valuable items. The massacre was not just about killing anymore. It turned into a horrifying search for treasure inside the very bodies of the dead and dying. For those who dared to resist Genghis Khan, death often came slowly and painfully. One of his preferred methods was to pile the conquered leaders underneath a wooden platform and then hold a victory feast on top. As the Mongols ate and drank, their enemies would slowly suffocate beneath the weight, crushed underfoot while hearing the sounds of celebration above them. Other forms of torture were equally horrifying. Some were boiled alive. Others had molten silver poured into their eyes and ears. These were not just punishments. They were spectacles meant to strike terror into the hearts of anyone who might think about defying the Mongols. Beyond the physical destruction of cities and armies, Genghis Khan's conquest erased entire cultures. Libraries were burned, temples were destroyed, and ancient knowledge was lost forever. In the great city of Baghdad, considered a center of learning, the Mongols unleashed one of the worst cultural devastations in history. The Tigris River ran black with the ink of countless manuscripts thrown into the water, and red with the blood of the scholars and civilians who tried to defend them. This wasn't accidental. Genghis Khan understood that to truly conquer a people, you had to destroy their identity, their history, and their very sense of self. Perhaps one of the most horrifying incidents was the siege of Nishapur. When Genghis Khan's son-in-law was killed by a stray arrow during the attack, his daughter demanded vengeance. Total, unrelenting vengeance. Genghis Khan's forces descended on the city with orders to kill every single living being. The city's population, numbering in the hundreds of thousands, was wiped out in a matter of days. Legend says they even dug up the bones of the dead to make sure no one survived. Genghis Khan's legacy is complicated. On the one hand, he united vast regions of the world and created one of the largest empires in history. On the other hand, his methods were brutal, his cruelty unmatched. He was a man who believed that fear and destruction were the quickest paths to victory, and his tactics worked. To this day, the name Genghis Khan is associated with terror. But it's not just because of the lives he took, it's because of how he took them. His horrifying acts weren't random. They were calculated, deliberate, and designed to leave a lasting scar on the pages of history.